Everyone good? All right. Welcome, Oregon State. Beavers head coach Scott Rueck, Bendu Yeaney, and Jelena Mitrovic. Coach, we'll have you open, and then we'll take questions.
All right. I thought Jelena and Bendu did a great job tonight. I was really proud of the fight that this group had. They had the right mindset entering the game. Played extremely hard throughout the game. It was very physical, of course. Battled through it. Colorado, had several runs that were created by their defensive disruption, to pull away from us and keep us at bay. And then, clearly shot a lot of free throws tonight and made a lot of free throws. And it was too much for us to overcome, and so give them a lot of credit. But I couldn't be more proud of this group for just sticking with everything this year, in a year that, the wins weren't what we wanted, the win total anyway. It's from that point of view, obviously a disappointing year. But this team had no quit all year. Not one game did this team quit, and that was evident, in the last couple of days here. And so I thought it was just another inspiring performance, by our team, and they deserve a ton of credit.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Cameron Derby, KEZI 9. What are the biggest, given how young this roster is, what are the biggest lessons that you take away from this game, and kind of just talk about what this team looks like, the future of this team, because from the outside looking in, it looks pretty bright. I just want to kind of pick your brain on how your team looks moving forward after this.
Yeah, well, I thought we've played our best basketball down the stretch. I mean, what we did Saturday was special. We've had some obviously great moments. I mean, our Stanford game, that was, a heck of a performance, and that was a while back. You think of several. The Oregon game at home was very special, and having two shots or a shot to beat Utah, was very special. So we've had some fantastic moments, but finishing games, in the last week, basically, we've just gotten better and better. The leadership has just gotten better and better, the freshmen better and better. And so as we go, this group has a chance to be, in my opinion, very special with the people that are joining us next year, with the people that we have. It has similar vibes to previous years at Oregon State. It's just forming, it's forming. So we're in the early stages of it. And sometimes, losing leads to lots of winning, and I think that's what everybody's expecting.
Right in the back row.
Coach, Troy Finnegan, the Bold, you mentioned their defensive disruption. Felt like they kind of sped you up with the press early in the second half. From your perspective, in what ways did that change the game or change the way that you guys were able to run your offense?
Well, I mean, they took us out of plays at times. They turned us over in the backcourt a couple of times, pressing us after rebounds, and then they did a nice job. I mean, Sherrod is so fast. I mean, she's so fun to watch. I'm a fan of hers. I always have been. It seemed as the game went on, she got faster, and she elevated. And so then that led to transition points for them. And so they capitalized on our mistakes. I haven't seen points off turnovers. I'm not wearing my glasses at the moment, but that, in my opinion, was a key stat in the game. And they got to the free throw line a few times off of those transition points, or opportunities, I should say. So overall, I thought we handled things pretty well. But there were just a couple runs, that just went against us. That was tough.
In the back here on the right.
Like even Blaze Radio, Jelena, this is a season where you saw a lot of improvement, although it wasn't the ending you quite wanted. But just how did you view your growth this season from season prior, and just summing it up as a whole?
I did see improvement in myself, but that was just with the team. As we improved as a team, that helped me to improve as a individual, and I just try to help my teammates as best as I can, whatever that is, passing the ball or shooting from outside or just getting buckets inside. I work hard in off season, and I was hoping to show that this season, and I'm hoping I helped this team as much as I could have. I don't know, but yeah, I just work hard. That was the only thing.
Nick?
Bendu, you sixth year, you decided to take a shot at Oregon State. What are your thoughts on how it all turned out for the season for yourself?
It was an experience, obviously. We were up and down sometimes, but it was fun. I'm happy. I'm not happy about how it turned out, but I'm happy that I came back home. I'm happy for the experience. I'm happy I was able to play with the freshmen and the sophomores, juniors, and obviously the seniors on this team. I think that we grew as a team. Hopefully I helped them with their leadership for the years to come. But I'm just proud of this team. It was something that I always wanted to do, and I'm happy I was able to do it.
Matt?
Coach, watching Adley Blacklock these last 2 days, she just seems to play with this swagger, this just sort of, even though I'm a freshman, she hit a couple shots in that first quarter and just was so amped. How can you see her, obviously you have a great group of freshmen here now, but her especially with just the way she plays, how much better can she be this next couple of years, and just the way she plays with all this energy and swagger about her?
Mm-hmm. Well, she's a baller. I mean, she's a gym rat. She loves the game. She's been, living for these opportunities her whole life, and it's evident, and that's why that passion comes out of her, and that's why she has confidence in herself, because she's earned it. She's paid her dues, and this year she paid her dues. I didn't get a lot of time early, needed to grow defensively, and really did, and really focused on that, and just stuck with it and stayed determined. I think playmaking ability. She missed the summer she was injured, and so didn't get to join us until October, and it really it set her back. So she was starting the year from behind, and that added into it, and so her conditioning got better and better because she'd missed so much, and so a player like her, kind of the sky's the limit. How good she wants to be. She's got point guard handles, she's got point guard vision, and she's just a deadly shooter. And now she's become, a Pac-12 defender as well. And so as the game slows down, we can use her in more and more situations, and teams have to defend her. Tonight it was interesting. She's playing against Frida, who's somewhat similar. She was purely a shooter as a freshman, and now you look at her and she's making plays off the bounce, and her development has been so impressive over the years. Adley has the same opportunity.
Coach, talking specifically about when Talia was injured, you guys find out that Talia will be out for the remainder of the season. It'd be really easy, given the close losses you guys experienced this year, it'd be really easy for this young group, Jelena, Reagan, Adley, the list goes on, to get down on themselves about it. Can you just kind of talk about what the conversations were like when Talia got hurt, and what that young group gave you in these last 4 games to put together this run?
Yeah, obviously you're losing a great player and someone that we played through so much. Just as we were preparing for the season, she's our most experienced player and has played the 1, 2, 3, and so a lot of stuff went through her, and then you remove her. Well, that means we've got to spread it around, and more people need to be playmakers. And, when the final decision was made, we had already had basically a run-through at USC. She couldn't, that was the first game, and we found out 10 minutes before that game she couldn't go. And so the team really had to scramble that day. We had a 4-point lead with 2 minutes to go, and people rose, so when somebody goes down, everybody has to rise. And so there wasn't much discussion about it. It was just, okay, here's what we have to do, and I think it was obvious to everyone. And clearly, we've had people really step up in her absence, which those are big shoes to fill, and on both ends of the floor, and the team did that, And so the most I just told him in our meeting room, the most remarkable thing about this season is to suffer not just losses, but painful losses repeatedly, for stretches this year. And this team just kept coming. They just kept playing, so nothing. I just look to these two and Noel, and just the countenance of this group. They stay positive through all the adversity. And so there was one more thing. There's no doubt that it was going to get them down. They were just going to keep fighting.
All right, Jeff.
Scott, Bears is a difficult matchup physically, but Vonleh did a good job against her. I don't think she scored until the fourth quarter. Can you just talk about what was going on there? And then also, is there any chance at all that you would be under consideration for WNIT?
Yeah, I'm not sure about any postseason at the moment. I haven't even let my mind go there other than this tournament. In regards to Ray, it was very physical underneath, and, that was probably the key to this game. If we can establish ourselves inside earlier, and we had 6 points in the paint, and I think it was Bendu layups in the first half. And so we couldn't get, they did a good job pushing us out, bottom line is what I'm saying. And so they established position. We had a hard time catching it deep and had a hard time getting shots off against them inside. So it was an extremely physically called game. And then Ray got, of course, foul trouble. And so that hurt us as well and limited her just a little bit more than we would have wanted, but the plan was to go inside. They were able to single cover us inside and slow us down, and that was probably the key to the game overall.
Nick?
Scott, we all see the potential in this team and what it could be, a year or two. What is your level of confidence given, these next few months, there's always a lot of movement in teams, that you can keep this thing together, keep your team together? Do you feel like these guys, get along, like each other, and want to be here for the long haul?
It feels really good to me. It feels normal to me. And normal means, the first 23 years of my career, pre-COVID, pre-transfer portal, where I had 4 total transfers in 23 years. This group feels like that, but anything's possible, and so in this day and age, I show up and I work with what I've got and do my best every single day, and whatever happens. My hope is obviously everyone stays. I love this team.
Coach, there's a lot of teams in this conference, or well, I shouldn't say a lot. There are a couple teams on this conference that are on the bubble here. Earlier, Tara, Kelly were talking about 8 teams from the conference should probably get into the NCAA tournament. For some of these teams, like in Oregon, that's got 14 losses, can you kind of just talk about why the teams from this conference that are on the bubble should get in, and do you agree with that number 8 from the conference this year?
Well, we finished 11th, and is SC a tournament team? We just beat them, right? We just beat Arizona the other day. You don't think we could win an NCAA tournament game? Our net's 55, right? And we're 11th, and so why not 11? Are you kidding? To me, every one of us could win games, in the NCAA tournament. This team has, I'm talking about me, us. Our team has what it takes to win an NCAA tournament game, without question, and more than one. You got the ball tied with Stanford on their home floor. You got a shot to beat Utah. What are their seeds? So we've been there. We've been battling all these teams. In this conference, every single team is prepared for the postseason because the conference is coached so well. It's so unique. You've seen every single thing. We've called more. It seems like it seems like every Pac-12 game comes down to a sideline out of bounds play somehow. It kind of defies logic, but every single game comes down to a sideline out. We've been in every possible scenario that you could be in. Sideline out with no timeouts. Oh, geez. Sideline or end line, they don't have a timeout, and you're down 3. Everything's been down, advanced, and now we're back here with no timeouts. And, so there is not a scenario that is possible in the game that we haven't been through. And that's probably true of every team in our conference, So this is a veteran group, extremely well coached, amazing guard play throughout, and amazing post play throughout, And so there's not a Pac-12 team. The way Arizona State finished the year, you don't think, they could probably win a tournament game too. And so there's not a Pac-12 team that wouldn't be worthy, in my opinion. Everybody's really good.
All right, that's a good place to finish.
One more? All right, put us all in, all 12. Let's do it. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, everyone.